we're going to have a look at exercise 9E, which is probability table. So what I've got set up first of all in the corner is a Venn diagram. And in this Venn diagram, that section in the middle there, that's where A intersects B. So both A and B. This one here, that's where not A intersects B. So that's this section here. It's got to be not A and intersects with B, as opposed to this one here, A intersect B is just that bit here. So I'm going to do this section green and have a think about what that is. And that is going to be A and not B. And then outside here, all the bit on the outside, that's where it's not A and not B. But sometimes that's easier to put into what we call a two-way table, this one here. So I can call these A and not A, B and not B. So here we've got A intersect B, A dashed or not A intersect B, and the total is B, which is what we started with here. Just like this one here would be the total of not B. This is A, this is not A. So here on this intersection, we'd be having A and not B, and then not A and not B. So what I've done there is just done them as events, but if we go over here and fill it in the same way, I'm going to do a probability table. So this time it's going to be probability of B, probability of not B. So here this is still the probability of B, probability of not B. And then we've got A and not A. And this always adds to 1 because all our probabilities combined add to 1. And just you could see we could fill this in the same way. So whether it's a probability or an event, the table still follows the same format. And I think sometimes the probability table is much easier than the Venn diagram. So let's have a look at how we're going to use this. So I've got a diagram here. My events are A and B, so I'm going to go A, not A, B, not B. And they should be probabilities, of course. And I know my probability always adds up to 1. So what do I know? The probability of A is 0.7. A intersect B, which is this one here, is 0.4. A dashed intersect B is 0.2. So now I can go through and fill in all the gaps. This must be 0.6, which means this is 0.4 to give a total of 1. This must be 0.3, which means this must be 0.1. And when you do it, it all works out nicely that all the columns and all the rows add up properly, so you know you've done it right. So let's find what's the first question. A intersect not B. That's this one here, 0.3. And for B, probability of B, let's go to the total of that column, 0.6. A dashed intersect B dash. And A union B. So we've talked about that previously, I believe. Did we use the addition rule? We've said, yes, we said the probability of A union B is the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A intersect B. Addition rule. And that's one you have to remember. But I'm going to show you another way in a minute. So A union B, I'm going to get probability of A, 0.7, plus the probability of B, 0.6, minus the probability of A intersect B, 0.4. And that gives me 0.9, I believe. So there's our answers for this one. But I'm going to show you another way. I think of the probability of A union B, that is everything except for A dashed intersect B dashed. Why? I'm going to show you. I'm going to say I want all of A and all of B. So I want the union of A and B, all of A and all of B. So then I can add up 0.2 plus 0.4 plus 0.3, which is also another way to get 0.9. So if you don't want to remember the formula, that's the way that works. Made a bit of a mess of that page, but it's not something that you'll find particularly hard. Students are quite good at this. In Australia, 65% of students participate in sport and 71% are Australian by birth. So I'm going to go sport, not sport, Australian by birth, not Australian by birth. 65% participate in sport, 0.65. I know this is 1. 71% are Australian by birth. There we are. Let's fill in the gaps. I know this must be 0.29 for it to add up. What else did I know? Something about the 53%. 53% are Australian by birth and participating sport, so that's 0.53. So that means I can work out that this one here must be 0.12, which means this is 0.17. That has to add up across, and this is 0.35, and then just check everything works. Everything adds up properly, so I know I've got it right. So A, the probability that they're not Australian by birth is this one, 0.29. And B is not Australian by birth and does not participate in the sport. That's a not. So I'm thinking this one here, 0.17. Oops. There we have it. Okay, so now we're up to 9F, so please go ahead and do the 9E questions before you move on.